Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. And before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray, be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows. We have one addition, and that's item 9C, a letter of support request from the Dauphin District Allied Arts Council, and we'll add that to the agenda. All those in favor of that, please indicate. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly, be resolved that we accept the council meeting agenda as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, and that's the regular council meeting from May 13th, 2024. Questions or comments regarding that? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin.
We don't need this one.
Don't need this one? All right, that's because we're all here. We'll retract Councillor Daly's motion. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray, be resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. All in favor? So we'll now proceed with a public hearing for bylaw 02-2024, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend the zoning bylaw 04-2015, regulating the use and development of land to allow childcare center as a permitted use in an open space recreation zone. We'll now commence to hear representations from members of the public who wish to make a presentation for or against this under the Planning Act. Anyone who is not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearing, please, you've gone through that, right? We've had everybody?
Yes, I'm just wondering where the registration list is. Do we have it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So,
Okay. So we have people in attendance that have registered. So before we go to the public discussion, Lisa, the Deputy City Manager, speaks on behalf of the application.
yes, so I welcome everyone here tonight. It is kind of nice to have an audience and of interested people. So this is, I think, quite good. So the city is working on a design construction specifications for a proposed new childcare center to be located at the intersection of 6th Avenue Southeast and 3rd Avenue and 3rd Street Southeast. This is city-owned land and that is zoned open space recreational. At just over 11,000 square feet, the center would accommodate 120 licensed daycare spaces, off-street parking, and outdoor play areas. The city received funding from the province for this project. Under our current zoning bylaw, childcare centers are currently not permitted in zones designated as open space recreational. However, our city development plan, and this is an important point, the city development plan supports childcare center uses within green areas. So this amendment to the zoning bylaw does not apply to any one specific property at this hearing. It applies to all open space recreational zones and would permit a childcare center as a conditional use within that zone. So then it would require a conditional use application, and conditional use applications require a public hearing and notice to all residents within a 100-meter radius, who would then have the opportunity to come and voice their concerns at a public hearing for that specific conditional use for a specific property. So I think that's kind of in a nutshell how I would open this up.
Thank you, Lisa. Members of council, speak for or against the proposal. Anyone want to speak? Count.
Yeah, I think I've been designated to be in the hot seat tonight. I guess I just wanted to speak for the daycare. I know Jason and Bayet and I had a bit of a conversation about it, and I guess I know that there's some people in the room this evening that are in opposition to the not the use or the existence of a daycare, but the specific location it's being put on. But I guess during an economic development meeting, when the proposal was forwarded by the province, the daycare was, they were looking for sites. The city was required to provide a 2 acre or whatever the required space was. And it was my recommendation, my idea, that it be on the rec facilities. And I guess the whole notion was that I saw the I saw the daycare as a complementary as complementary to recreation. I know a lot of the daycare facilities are already housed in a lot of recreation facilities around Manitoba. Some of the nicer ones in Winnipeg have that as a way of allowing, you know, mums and dads of dropping off their kids and then going and using the daycare space and then going and using recreation facilities. So that was what the kind of the thought process was. And then we went through a few other location selections, and then there were some favored, some over the other, but it kind of circled back to that. And the other kind of pro I thought was that with the development of the toboggan hill and the skating rink and the swimming pool and the theater, I just thought, well, what a great space to have a daycare facility that would allow little kids to be dropped off. And I know raising 2 kids and not having family in Dauphin was a really challenging at the time, especially when there is no daycare. And I would have loved to have a facility like that, especially close to all those amenities. So I think it was more on a, wow, what amazing thing we could build and how excellent and complimentary it was. So I'd like to just speak in favor of it. I like to stand behind my decisions, whether it's popular or not, but I just wanted to kind of put my name out there as this was kind of the site that I thought was and it was supported, I think, in general at the Economic Development Board and then again at the City Council Board. So that's it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councillor Sobring. Any other councillors want to speak in favor of the application? Nope. Okay, we'll move now to, is there anyone else in the room that wants to speak in favor? Okay. Next point. Is there any person who wishes to speak in objection to this application? If so, we know who you are, but you'll step up to the mic, please, Jason, and state your name for the record, because this is going live streaming out to, I think, 3 or 4 people right now, but it's up there forever afterwards. So if you want to take the mic, it's yours.
Hello, I'm Jason Bayet, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Dauphin Agricultural Society. And we are not in agreement with the location of the proposed daycare for the following reasons. So I just want to mention that our organization has been established since 1891, so I actually think we're older than the city. And we believe that the daycare is a wonderful thing for our community, but we question the choice of the location for such a daycare. It would seem to me that we are pretty fortunate to have in the center of our city a large tract of land for recreation purposes. And I would have to indicate that, the vision and foresight of people who established those grounds is something that we should not tread lightly with. As you travel through the different parts of the province, you get to see what everyone's doing. And last winter, we were in Steinbach, and I was waiting for my son to get out of the dressing room because he's always the last one. And I was reading about their new proposed arena facility, which was going to cost $62 million. And so I quickly turned my head to our facility, and I don't know what the total cost was for phase 1 and phase 2 of our rec complex. But I think the foresight and vision of our previous leaders should be commended. And I think that, you look around those grounds and you go a little further back and you think of just all the trees that were planted on those grounds in the time and the landscaping that was done to prepare those grounds for a certain parcel of land in our community. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. It wasn't until last fall when we were meeting with Mamawi Park to discuss their plans on the rec complex grounds that we were even apprised of the daycare that had been proposed by the city. So at that time, we later met with Martine, the economic development manager for the city, and expressed our concerns at that point. I would submit that those grounds are precious to us, and if we have any future recreation development, and I appreciate my discussion that I had with Councillor Sobering, I don't quite see the daycare as being a recreational facility. And so I think that if we have future plans in this community, and maybe we don't have anything on the table right now, but I think we need to be mindful of the fact that we have limited space on those grounds. And if there's going to be further development, we are going to need every space that we can use right there. And, you know, the Mamawi Park has been established, and it could be a beautiful thing, I think, for the center of those grounds, sort of free recreation for people who maybe are less fortunate. And I think it's going to be wonderful, but it also takes up a huge tract of land in the center of our grounds. And so I'm mindful of the fact that future development will possibly have to head south towards the proposed location of the daycare. And I don't know if there is a overall recreation plan that Dauphin Rec Services has or that the city has for those grounds. I'm not specifically aware of one, but I just don't see this as being part of the recreation plan for our community. So that brings me to sort of the gist of our opposition to the daycare, and that is some historic agreements that were established with the municipalities. The first one dating back to March 8, 1950, and the most current one that I'm aware of dating back to January 14th, 2004. And I have a copy of both of those agreements for council if they would like to have those. Yeah. So there's highlighted portions in there, which I'll discuss in a moment. So I wasn't around in 1950 when this agreement was prepared, but my understanding is that certain lands were swapped, and in that process, the Dauphin Agricultural Society was granted a historic 99-year lease on the current Dauphin Memorial Complex, as they refer to it in the agreement. And that agreement, specifically at the 1950 agreement, if you can turn to the yellow tab, it discusses what the rights and obligations are of the parties. And I'm just going to read in a highlighted portion, and I've highlighted it in your agreement there as well, which talks about how the lands are to be used. And it does cover off this specific fact. So it says, subject always to the right of the town from time to time and at all times during the said term to withdraw from this agreement such portions of the said lands as may be necessary or which may be required for highways or for industrial or commercial uses, or to be exchanged for other adjoining lands to be included in such site, provided that such withdrawals shall not impair the general character of such site or lessen materially the present area thereof. That is further confirmed in the agreement entered into back in 2003, 2004 at page 5, paragraph 17. That agreement actually goes on further to say that the parties hereto agree that all the rights of the society is set forth in the agreement between the city, the municipality, and the society dated March 8th, 1950, shall survive any termination, alteration, or amendment to this present agreement. So it is our respectful submission that the daycare is not a highway use, not an industrial use, and not a commercial use. And as far as I'm aware, there's no other lands that are going to be exchanged for the daycare lands. And the withdrawal of that land for the daycare does materially affect the site and lessen the present area thereof. It is with that submission that we also would indicate that there has been no approving resolution that we're aware of from the Dauphin Rec Services for these daycare to be established on these grounds. And in fact, I think that these grounds, although legally owned by the City of Dauphin, are beneficially held for Dauphin Rec Services. It is therefore our submission that there cannot be a daycare established on the grounds in its present form.
Do you have any other, is that
That's everything.
the end? Questions or comments for Jason? Anyone? Lisa?
I would just, thank you for that presentation. I would just ask if you have any objection to childcare centers as a permitted use, conditional use in open recreational space zones in any area of Dauphin. Because that's really what the issue is at hand at this hearing. At the next hearing, if this bylaw amendment were approved, there would be a conditional use hearing, which would, the subject of that would be this specific daycare center and whether or not it would be permitted as a conditional use under the zoning bylaw. So the concept here is to approve an amendment to the bylaw so that table 4.1 will reflect that childcare center is a permitted use as a conditional use in open space recreational zones. And do you have an objection to that concept in applying that permitted use to open space recreational zones across the board in Dauphin as a whole?
Well, I can't speak to every recreational facility. Like if you were to ask me if it should go into Vermilion Park, I'm not sure I would agree with that either. But because of the wording of the bylaw and the fact that it was to all open recreation zones, I think I would clearly state that, yeah, I oppose it because it's going to go in the southwest corner of the grounds, and that's not permitted. So yes, I oppose the conditional use as it applies to open recreational zones.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else that wants to speak against the bylaw? Oh,
My
Deputy
question
Mayor?
is just quick. Is everybody here tonight from the Ag Society? Okay, that's all I had.
I'm just here.
And just to reiterate again, like if this amendment were to pass, all of you would still have the opportunity to express objections to this specific development on that property once it went to the conditional use. Then there would be a notice sent out to every resident within a 100-meter radius. They would all be eligible to come in and state their concerns as well. So even if this were to pass today and the bylaw was approved, you would still have the opportunity to come back and state your case again at the conditional use hearing.
okay. If there's nothing else from Jason or anyone else from the group, then the next point of order then is to state that the representations for the public hearing from the public are completed. And we have the next motion by Councillor Sobring, seconded by Councillor Daly. Do we deliberate on this matter today, or do we have further, and can we make a decision, or do we want to table it and have further discussions based on the presentations? So that's an open question to council. Are you ready to make a decision right now, or, okay. So call that motion then carried. And do we have the process then is,
Just to clarify what we're doing then. So right now, we're making a decision on the big picture, on the policy. And we're not making a site-specific decision.
because we have a multi-stage process, as you're probably fully aware. So this is the first step of that. And so we have to do this to get to that next stage. So I just want to, yeah, sorry, Lisa, carry on.
Also, I just wanted to, just as a point of clarification, so in order for there to be a formal objection filed, it has to be filed by someone who is an eligible voter. So we would need to confirm that anybody filing a formal objection to this would need to be an eligible voter within the city of Dauphin. So is that the case?
Not for me personally, no.
Okay.
But I'll get my wife to do that.
Okay, So, yeah, no, Terry?
So if this motion passes, then even though council is fully aware that these grounds are sort of, there's this agreement in place, we would still proceed with that?
Proceed what?
Like the motion.
Yeah, and partly, and I'm not going to say that Jason cherry picked, but he cherry picked the bylaws from the Ag Society, which there's a more complete listing of the resolution that was the city bylaw in 1950 that created that agreement. So you stated the wording in your bylaw.
No. Sorry if I may interrupt. That is the agreement between the
Sure.
municipality, the city,
Right.
and the
And
municipality.
I'm just saying that there's other information from 1950 that we've reviewed, I've reviewed personally, and there's greater detail than that to determine the interpretations of what those uses are.
Respectfully, I'd have to disagree with that. So the top of that is the bylaw approving the agreement.
Right.
But the actual agreement is attached between the town, the RM, and the Dauphin Ag Society.
Okay, so we can dig into the specific details because there's a number of other clauses that I've read related to this that aren't included in this document. So that's what I'm referring to right now.
Yeah, and that's the
is
only
this thing
document
that-
I have, just
Okay.
so that you know, that's the only
Okay,
thing I was
yeah.
provided.
No, because there's been considerable amount of time spent on the back end of this for the last year or so preparing.
And I will mention that without the collaboration of the Dauphin Ag Society.
In what regard, though?
In picking the location on the grounds, right?
Well, technically, yes. However, the Ag Society is a member of DRS, and the DRS, through their general manager, has been involved in discussions from the very beginning on this.
Right, but as I said, there's no supporting resolution from Dauphin Rec Services.
There's no opposing word either. Everything has been in favor so far. It's my understanding that at some DRS board meetings, there's been discussions on this topic, but there's not been anything formally agreed in approval of or opposition to.
So what is the purpose of the Dauphin Rec Services Board if they don't have to have a resolution approving use of stuff on their grounds?
That's a very good question. And we could also open that question up to have further discussions with the rural municipality on the purpose of DRS right now. And if you want to go
I'm
down
not here
that
to get
path.
into funding issues.
Okay, but I would love to have that conversation with you as well at some point in time. And I know we've had bits of it and we're getting distracted, so we won't do that. But so we'll get back to, unless there's further comments from you, Jason, there's formalities we have to follow. So there's a motion by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sticalo. Be it resolved that we now reconvene to the regular council meeting. All those in favor? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you. And then, so moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be it resolved that the public hearing for bylaw 02, 2024, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend zoning bylaw 04, 2015, regulating the use and development of land to allow childcare center as a permitted use in an open space recreation zone, be now concluded. All those in favor of this resolution? Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas due notice was given with respect to rezoning application of 06 274300 RZ 240101. And whereas there was an objections to this application, be it resolved that the rezoning application for 1206 274300 RZ 240101 for owner and applicant, City of Dauphin, to amend the text in Table 4.1 of the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 0425, 2015, for a childcare center to be permitted as a C conditional use in or open space recreation zone to allow application for a proposal to construct a childcare center with exterior recreation and an off-street parking area located at Part Block 6, Plan 1299 DLTO, which is 524 3rd Street Southeast, to comply with zoning bylaw 04-2015, be approved with the following condition: that a separate conditional use application and public hearing will be required to allow the proposed construction and site development for the proposed child care center to be permitted. Questions or comments regarding that resolution? So all those in favor of this resolution, please indicate. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. So we've had the first reading of that motion, so you will obviously have an opportunity at the conditional use stage of this process. If we get there, we have to do second and third reading, but first reading has been passed. Your objections have been duly noted, and we have the materials here. And I suspect we'll be looking forward to further discussions with you on this proposal. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like. I know we've never had this kind of a crowd, and it's kind of like having a hockey game with your home rink folks there, but I know Wayne probably has better things to do than listen to me talk, but you're welcome to stay if you'd like. If you want to go and have a
Let
life.
them know who's up next, because we have another guest.
Well, we do have a delegation or presentation from ACC, but we'll put the pressure on you folks. So you can stay or you can quietly slip out, exit stage right. Your call. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your point of view. Well, that was our first crowd. I'm kind of, no offense to you. Sorry, it's not about you today. It's about something else. But thank you very much. We'll move right to the next agenda item, moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sticalo. Be it resolved now that Council accepts as information the delegation from ACC, Campus Director Carol Stewart, and posse. So the floor is yours, ladies, and carry on.
Thank you.
And yeah, turn on the mic, Carol, because Charlotte's mom won't be able to hear you.
Alrighty. Okay, how's that? We're good? Good afternoon, Mayor Bosiak, councillors, Deputy City Manager, city staff, and Sean. Thank you for including our delegation from Assiniboine College on today's agenda. I'm joined by Stacey Purdy from our admin team. Previously, we had been joined by Terry Sticalo from our Board of Governors. Obviously, he was not here for this. Anyway, I'm Carol Stewart, and I've been the director of Parkland Campus for a year and a half. I moved here with my family from Ontario last summer. And on my very first visit to Parkland Campus when I had just started in November 2022, I put out an invitation for community partners to come and meet with me over a coffee at campus. And the very first guest to show up was Mayor Bosiak. And he challenged me on that day to think about big ideas and big things. And he told me that this was a community where we can both dream big and make big things happen. And from that moment, I have felt an alignment with this city council. Like some of you, I was brand new in fall of 2022. There was an energy and a sense of optimism in the air that I believe that we shared then, and I believe that we still share it. The City of Dauphin has stepped up every time that I have asked for your help. You have provided your feedback. You've participated in our stakeholder groups. You've helped with our strategic planning. You showed up as guests on our big days. You've celebrated with us. You've included us in conversations about transportation and housing and Creative Commons. And your staff has offered us their valuable expertise from everything from economic development to active transportation corridors. We're grateful for these relationships, and they're important for building trust. We felt very privileged to be included as a key partner in the recent State of the City address, and we feel the same way about you. So now I'm 18 months into this role, and it has become clear to me that as Assiniboine and the City of Dauphin, we share many interests, and whether they're related to the economy, our community, or our shared culture, in many cases, our priorities and our initiatives intersect as well. So if we start with economy, we believe that skills development drives workforce development. We strive to offer programming that meets the needs of our local labor market. These are the programs that we're offering in September. Applied electrical installation. We're hoping to ramp up trades and opportunities for those pursuing apprenticeship pathways. We offer business administration, both a human resources and accounting specialization, and we're now offering this every year as an intake instead of every 2 years. And part of this reflects new investments in the Peters School of Business of Assiniboine College. We still offer comprehensive healthcare, very successfully in partnership with our school division. We offer our early childhood education program. As you know, we're working to meet the needs of this very high demand occupation. Our heavy equipment operator program we're offering in the spring, so that's of 2025, sorry. And we offered last spring and we had a full class for that, so clearly a need. Horticultural production, our first cohort has just completed their program and they'll be graduating in June. That entire group has been working with vermilion growers to learn all the bits and pieces of working in a greenhouse of that standard. And we hope to offer this program now every year. Social service worker, we're glad to have this back. It was a sort of a one-time trial. And again, we've got a cohort of graduates coming out this June. So we'll have a crop of, I think, 8 to 10 new social service workers. And we're looking forward to doing that again. We also offer our mature student high school. We run that every year for anybody who wants to come back and complete a diploma or to do any kind of upgrading with respect to taking various high school courses. We're also trying to look ahead, and this chart is in your packages. And we're trying to provide longer-term information about what we're offering when, so that people can make good decisions about when they might want to come to Parkland campus. So we're programming up to 2028. And as you can see, we're already planning for practical nursing and plumbing intakes for a year from now. And in fact, we actually have students who come in to learn more about how they can get themselves prepared to enter that program, even though it might be a year out. Other ways that we support students and learners, again, our Center for Adult Education, where adults can attend for upgrading, or as I mentioned, mature student high school. And one of the things that we're looking at right now is how we might be able to work with employers to help them increase their workforce's educational levels. For example, supporting their employees who may not have a grade 12 yet in attending mature student high school courses while they're working. We want to work with our area employers and partners to help them attract talent and to keep it. So through our continuing studies department, employers and organizations can work with us. We can deliver customized workshops, professional development. If there's an interest, we can bring it here. Through our community development department, we further support Indigenous economic prosperity by offering programs in dozens of First Nations and other communities. And so, for example, right now we're in conversations with Pine Creek or Minnegojubi Anishinaabe their counsel on how we can assist them with their new South End development training needs as they look to grow and develop at the South End of Dauphin. For the most part, our graduates are doing well. They get jobs, they work in their fields, and they stay in Manitoba. And in fact, we have more students that stay in Manitoba than originate from Manitoba. So we are actually a net contributor to population. And for the most part, our graduates are earning over $55,000 per year on average. And after 4 years, those salaries have risen by about 40%. So they are in occupations and sectors with the opportunity to grow.
Carol, can I ask you a question?
You may.
Our province had a program where students who went to university and paid tuition fees, if they stayed working in Manitoba, they could claim and get those fees back. I'm not sure if that program is still existing. Did that program ever apply to colleges?
That's a new one for me.
Okay.
Let me find out, and we'll get back to you on that one. Have you, any familiar with that? The top 10 reasons for choosing Assiniboine. We can see that what we offer is crucial, but you can also see that there are important factors that work in our favor, such as our location, our affordability, our positive reputation, and that we offer a safe campus and a safe community. And we take these very seriously because we are part of a larger community, and we share some of these big community concerns with you, things like immigration and inclusion, transportation, housing, health, safety, recreation, and so forth. When we think of ourselves as part of a larger community, with respect to immigration, we want Parkland campus to be welcoming to immigrants and to do more to attract international students. We're excited by the idea of being included and eventually connected to the city by this very cool Assiniboine active transportation corridor. We're exploring ways of getting students to and from campus. For example, we're having an event later this week, and we're offering to pay for taxis for people to come and check out campus and to, of course, to get home. And we hope to do this whenever we can. We're also working on a new model for student housing, a platform called Spaces Shared, which matches older homeowners with students. And this is just at the very beginning stages of this, but we hope to be able to test it here in Dauphin and Parkland, in consultation, of course, with our community partners. The Parkland advantage is our culture. We strive to be a welcoming and friendly community partner. And whether it's hosting the Young Women's Conference to introduce girls in grade 8 to trades, getting out in front at community events, raising our teepee together as an act of reconciliation, and eating together as acts of friendship. I always joke that our culture at Parkland is that we may not be big, but we're small. And this culture pays off. So our first-year students from last September are overwhelmingly satisfied with their Assiniboine experience so far. And just as important, the majority of them feel like they belong in our programs. And this has been increasing year over year. Ultimately, we wanted to get in front of you today because we wanted to share just how important you are in reducing barriers and increasing opportunities for folks interested in attending Parkland campus. Because when we promote Parkland campus to potential students, we are also promoting Dauphin and other Parkland communities as the places where they will live, play, and work, as well as study. And I'm going to pass it over to Stacy because she has been unbelievably busy and effective in helping us run a spring campaign to promote our programs for the fall and beyond.
So Carol stole my line about, well, we're promoting Assiniboine, we're promoting you as well. But we really have had an amazing time. We've been out to 17 high schools, high school groups over the last couple of months. We've seen over 300 individuals, either we've come to them or they've come to us on campus, providing presentations, hands-on activities, and additional information, labor market specific interests. As someone who grew up in Dauphin, as well as raising my own family, it is a large part of my part of the presentation is to remind people of where Parkland campus is and why there's value in that. We spend quite a bit of time putting together presentations that support the frequently asked questions of how to get people from where they are, whether it be newcomers or high school students, to where they eventually want to be in the workforce. We are looking forward to additional opportunities coming up, such as our parking lot party and program showcase, just kind of ramping up on the idea of an open house, but giving the community a chance to come and get to know us, not only our programs, but the culture of our campus.
And you all have that invitation in your packages. But we're also looking ahead. And some of the conversations that I've had with some of you have been around strategic planning. And there is a new Assiniboine strategic plan that has just been approved and will be shared shortly with obviously our community, the campus community, but then of course our external stakeholders and partners. I did manage to get a sneak peek, and I snuck in and found, sort of the couple of lines that I think speak to where we're at. Parkland campus will continue to adjust Manitoba's changing labor market. New programs, including those in our areas of provincial leadership, including agriculture and food production, public safety, may necessitate changes to campus environments to accommodate program renewal. So I look at this and I'm reassured that Parkland campus is not going anywhere. We're going to continue to be responsive. We're going to continue to add things to our programming that our communities need. We're always interested in, of course, enhancing the things that we've already got. We may not be big, but we're small, but we're not too small to have big ideas. We are this community's post-secondary institution, and we want to be one of the things that this city and this city council brags about when you're out and about. We want to grow as you grow. We want to be a part of your attraction strategy, whether it's newcomers choosing Dauphin or attracting business investments. And we want to be here as best we can for those who are already here and those who want to stay here. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Carol. Members of council, questions or comments for Carol? Councilor David?
Carol, you said you can add to your curriculums. One of the shortages we've been talking about are things around community safety, is either the community safety officer training program, which seems to be only in Winnipeg, correct? Am I right on that? And or security guard training. We're currently looking at a situation where at the Parkview Lodge, as an example, we're having to ship security guards in from out of town, so the cost to their program is excessive because of that. But there's not enough people qualified for that training here. So is that something that we can look at adding to? Is that do you think there's enough demand to add that as a regular program?
I asked very specifically about security officer training because you and I have had this conversation before, and I know it's also sort of even a broader need than that. And the answer that I got back from continuing studies was yes, we have that and we can bring it. So what that will mean is working with you and others here and perhaps doing a bit of an inventory across our community partners and organizations to see how many numbers can we drum up, because that's ultimately the arbiter of whether we bring it or not. But it absolutely can be done.
And how it's funded is the other, and the funding obviously is the other contributing factor, right? How the program like that is funded is a big part of why you'll see changes in our continuing studies and community development offerings.
Okay. Other questions or comments from anyone? Councillor Sobering.
Yeah, I just want to say I like the energy and enthusiasm. I think you bring a good energy to the campus and the college as a whole. I think you're doing a great job. I know it's sometimes good to hear that. So it's very refreshing. I like the energy. I was at the Easter egg hunt. I was very anxious because I thought, oh, like when you're hosting a party, is anyone going to show up? And it was a tremendous day and it was well attended. And obviously I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of progress on the connecting through the active transportation. You've been a good partner that way. And my wife is also an employee there. So she's right now in Calgary doing a presentation on behalf of ACC in the nursing program. So I know that there's a lot of growth there as well. And I guess a question, is there I don't have any inside knowledge of this, so I'm just going to put that disclaimer out there. But was there some discussion at any level for a bridging program from the practical nursing to the degree nurses?
Yes, yes. And I know that that is of real interest, particularly to students who have taken the practical nursing program who are looking now to move into the next step. And we think that we have enough interest and demand here locally to potentially pilot a bridging program here. So I know that nursing and ACC is taking it under consideration. And if and when it does happen, we're hoping that it comes here first. And then it's something that can be, duplicated or sort of grown across the college.
Yeah, awesome.
broadly.
Yeah, we do need that, and we do want to be first. The other thing is keep us in mind for if I don't know if ACC has an appetite for student housing, but that's also a project. I think it's something lacking, especially for the people from Indigenous communities and further abroad, and finding adequate and quality housing. And I think students are a good add to the city. At the brewery, we had 2 frontline employees, but they're both college students at the same time, and it's nice. It's nice to see them move up and on and out, and then seeing ACC helping them do that.
Thank you. And we share your urgency with respect to student housing, for sure. And I think that post-secondary institutions, it's becoming increasingly incumbent upon them to demonstrate that there is suitable accommodations for students that they're trying to attract. Particularly, you may know this, but we don't have many international students now. Part of that is because there's a housing presents a barrier, but also many of our students travel significant distances to come and attend here. So we have lots of students coming from out of community as well. And we want to make sure that they're safe and have a place that's conducive, to learning and to success.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yep.
So Carol, you've mentioned the word safe a couple of times, which is great because you probably know that we're doing a community safety and well-being plan. And one of the things we want to do is get input from people of various ages. So we're looking at reaching out to you because your students are of an age that, that's a demographic where we're wanting some more input. So, stay tuned, you'll be hearing from us.
Wonderful. Yes,
Okay,
and
thank
I've seen lots of your promotions about the survey and so forth, and I love that that's a priority. And we'd be very happy to, really make a deliberate effort or to target our students in terms of responding or focus groups or whatever it is that we can help with, for sure.
On behalf of council, I want to thank you and Stacy for coming, and also just to suggest that we do want to work with you, and we're very interested in your success because your success is our success. And so if there's any of the initiatives that we discussed today or that you have cooking that you might need support from us, whether that means anything or not or has any value, we certainly will provide that. And we know that the good work that you're doing it's showing, it's obvious. And so we're really pleased that, as Councillor Sobering mentioned, there's an energy coming from the college that I think is refreshing. And I think that that's just good for us, just generally. So again, thanks for being you and thanks for being the college, because it's integral to our community. So we appreciate you and thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Thursday, if it rains, then plan B is.
That's 70%. That's still 30% chance of sun, and it'll change. Just call for the question then. All in favor? Anyone opposed? None. Good. You're good to go. Or you can stay. If that invitation's always open, because Sean gets very lonely. Actually, Sean doesn't get lonely at all. I retract that statement. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, council will move to the consent agenda. We have several action items. We have several proclamations. We're going to blast through these because I know how much our editor loves hearing the resolution. So the first proclamation is Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you. Whereas Lieutenant Colonel W.G. Billy Barker, VC, has been commemorated by the Government of Canada as an individual of national significance, as one of Canada's most renowned and decorated servicemen of any armed conflict, and whereas his birthplace, and whereas his place of birth was Dauphin, and whereas he gallantly served as a pilot in World War I, and whereas he received the Victoria Cross in 1918 for his outstanding bravery, and whereas we recognize his loyalty, dedication, and sacrifice, now therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim June 1st, 2024 as Lieutenant Colonel W.G. Billy Barker VC Day, dated at the City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba, this 27th day of May 2024.
Thank you, Councillor Stakilo. We have the next resolution, I believe, is Councillor Daly.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Whereas June is recognized as Pride Month in Canada and around the world as an opportunity to celebrate diversity, promote equal rights, and build awareness of the challenges faced by our 2S LGBTQI+ friends, family, neighbors, and co-workers. And whereas we recognize the ongoing struggle for dignity, equality, and personal safety for 2S LGBTQI+ people, and know that much work remains to be done to ensure an inclusive society for all. And whereas the City of Dauphin supports an inclusive and respectful community where all citizens can live, work, and play in a safe and secure environment where diversity is accepted and celebrated. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as Pride Month.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. The next proclamation, Councillor Ray, I think.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the City of Dauphin's adoption of an active transportation strategy in 2021 reflects the city's commitment to encouraging active living, promoting cycling opportunities, and doing our best to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And whereas the Dauphin Active Living and Transportation Committee and the Dauphin Derailers Cycling Club have worked hard to foster a positive and inclusive cycling culture that supports a lifestyle of wellness and a connection to nature. And whereas the City of Dauphin is committed to enhancing cycling experiences, activities, and culture in the parkland by developing infrastructure and encouraging residents to bike to school, to work, and to shop whenever possible. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim June 9th to 15th, 2024 as Bike Week.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. And Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. This is with regards to our employees, public service employees. So whereas an act of Parliament in 1992, the third week of June was proclaimed as Public Service Week, and whereas public service employees from all three levels of government share a common link that sets them apart from employees in other sectors, and whereas it is their commitment to serve the citizens of our cities, provinces, and country with professionalism, expertise, and sensitivity to the challenges faced by an ever-changing public. And whereas public service employees should be thanked for their contribution to society, therefore we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim June 9 to 15, 2024 as National Public Service Week, dated here today, signed by our Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. There's one filing item from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities regarding the outstanding provincial responses to the 2023 AMM resolutions. Moved by Councillor Sobring and seconded by Councillor Stakilo, be resolved that all items listed in red under 5 consent agenda be approved and form part of these minutes. Call for the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, be resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be authorized and approved as follows. We had 52 checks for a total of $1,435,643.25. We had no voided checks during the current range, no voided checks in the past range, and no electronic payments during this period. Call for the question. All those in favor of the financial report? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that we accept as information the minutes and reports from the following committees: the Dauphin Rec Services Board meeting from May the 1st, and Dauphin At-Risk Teens, the DART Program Statistics Report. Questions or comments regarding these two items? Call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas since the fiscal year 2015-2016 Manitoba Economic Development, Investment and Trade Forestry Peatlands Branch, formerly known as Manitoba Sustainable Development, has downloaded the removal of Dutch elm disease trees onto municipalities with an annual subsidy reflective of the size of the trees removed, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a 2024-25 Community Forest Grant Agreement between the City and Manitoba Economic Development, Investment, Trade and Natural Resources, and a memo dated May 24th from the Deputy City Manager recommending approval of the new agreement with changes to tree removal deadline from March 31st to February 28th, and outlines an increase in reimbursement rates per tree as follows. Small elms up to 30 centimeters in diameter from $190 to $226 per tree. A medium elm, which is 30 to 79 centimeters in diameter, from $380 to $452. And large elms, 80 centimeters or larger, from $570 to $678 per tree. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and authorizes this agreement to be signed and sealed by the City Manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. I'd just like to add, the city has faithfully funded this program since it was created many years ago. I was still a young man. I was the rec director. And we were one of the few municipalities that when some of the funding agreements changed with the province, many communities opted out of the program and have suffered because of it due to extreme loss of Dutch elm trees in their communities. We're losing trees, but at a slower rate. And I want to commend DRS and the professionals that we bring in to help with this mitigation and removal and program, because it certainly saved many elm trees in our community and extended the lives of the ones that are left. So hats off to former councils for continuing to fund this program. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, yeah. Whereas under the Accessibility for Manitobans Act, effective May 1st, Manitoba's 10 largest municipalities, including the City of Dauphin, are required to comply with the Accessible Information and Communication Standard Regulation, which promotes greater independence and inclusion of people with disabilities through the identification, prevention, and removal of information and communication barriers. Further be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo dated May 10th from the Deputy City Manager recommending approval of of the Accessible Information and Communication Policy 310, which outlines procedures and standards that need to be followed in ensuring the community's needs are met when accessing information and communication provided by or on behalf of the City of Dauphin. And finally, be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager recommendation and approves this policy 3.10. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas the Dauphin District Allied Arts Council plays a vital role in fostering arts and culture heritage in our community and provides diverse and vibrant culture, social, and entertainment offerings at the Arts Centre. And whereas with interior Arts Centre temperatures reaching 28 to 30 degrees in the summer, the lack of air conditioning has significantly restricted their ability to offer events and activities during this time. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information a request dated May the 27th from Cam Bennett, the Arts Centre President, requesting a letter supporting their grant application to the Government of Manitoba from the Ground Up Safe Healthy Communities for All grant program for funding to install air conditioning at the Arts Centre, which would extend the use of the auditorium to the full 12 months and increase revenue additional revenue of up to 3,000 additional users each year. Further be resolved that council values the Arts Center as a hub for creativity, entertainment, and engagement, and authorizes this letter of support for the grant application for the From the Ground Up program. Questions or comments? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be resolved that bylaw 02, 2024, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend the zoning bylaw 04, 2015, regulating the use and development of land to allow the Child Care Center as a permitted use in an open space recreation zone be now read a second time. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that bylaw 02-2024, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to amend the zoning bylaw 04, 2015, regulating the use and development of land to allow Child Care Center as a permitted use in an open space recreation zone be now read a third time, be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. As this is a recorded vote, I'll go down the line. Councillor Sobering, in favor. Councillor Loughlin,
In favor.
Councillor Stakilo, in favor. Councillor Bellemare, yes. Councillor Ray, thumbs up. Councillor Daly, thank you. And Mayor Bosiak also makes it a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that we accept as information a couple of invitations. One is from the Northwest Métis Council, Walk with Pride, which is on June the 1st, and that's for the mayor to be there, but that was also extended to all of council, so I'm hoping that you can all make it out on June the 1st for the Walk with Pride Day. And from the Dauphin Agriculture Society, interesting. They would like us to attend the Dauphin Fair Parade, so we should probably accept that invitation. Further be resolved that all expenses related to council attending be borne by the city. Questions or comments regarding these? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Got that right, didn't I? Yes, sirree, I need a drink. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following community events from the Assiniboine Community College campus, their parking lot party and showcase, which is this Thursday, May the 30th. From the Northwest Métis Council, which is their Walk with Pride Day on June the 1st, which is Friday. And the Assiniboine Community College Parkland campus, their graduation ceremony on June the 7th. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor. No, this is not moved by the Deputy Mayor. This is seconded by the Deputy Mayor. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is moved by Councillor Stakilo. Be resolved that we now accept the councillor reports for today's meeting. We'll start, where should we start today? Eeny, meeny. Let's start with Councillor Bellemare because she is ready to give a report.
Thank you. Okay, council work. I went to the State of the City address by Mayor Bosiak, and he wore us all out by giving an overview of everything that we are doing. So it's pretty fantastic. So thank you for encapsulating everything that we're doing. On the next day, I went to the groundbreaking for the new Petro-Canada gas station, which is an economic development partnership between Pine Creek and Ebb and Flow First Nations, and it will be located by the McDonald's restaurant there. Protective Services meeting with the RCMP, Fire Services, and Animal Services items on the agenda. On the 16th, I went to the grad powwow in the grass ring there. There was a huge crowd of people gathered to support the Assiniboine College grads, plus the high school grads from all the high schools within Mountain View School Division. So very well attended and well done. Also on that day, Riverside Cemetery meeting, and on the 21st, signed a new funding application for Parkland Regional Library. A new formula is being used, and our Executive Director, Ellison Moss, has been super diligent in ensuring that it was done well so that the maximum funding could come our way. On the 23rd, Communities in Bloom committee meeting, and on the 25th, the Chip and Soil Day, and I think it was like 5 degrees and whatever. But it was amazing, the turnout. Lots of people came out for topsoil, so people are ready to garden. Community events announced this week. There's going to be a new outdoor basketball court at the DR that will have a very fancy paint job designed by Dauphin students. So check out the website Baskets and Borders to learn more about the nonprofit assisting with this great new project, which is supposed to be done in time for the games. So the weather better smarten up so that that can happen. And I'd like to say a thank you to the Community in Bloom volunteers who braved that cold weather to assist with Chip and Soil Day. Susan Torden, Teresa DeHolis, and Corey Payne. Many people actually came out, and there was some, I think Christian said we made $60. And also, by the way, in the Rec Commission minutes, it was talking how SMAC, the Ukrainian food company, is taking over the concession by the pool in DRS. So that's pretty cool. So drop by there and have some great Ukrainian food. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've said it before, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing going after Councillor Bellemare because she always has a very long list of things that she does. She's very active in the community, and it's also a good thing because she highlights a lot of the stuff that's going on and that I might miss. But for myself, May 13th, regular council meeting, and also on May 16th, myself and the mayor and Councillor Ray traveled to Brandon and attended the State of the Province address, and the guest speaker was our Premier Wab Canoe. And just to highlight from that, it was hosted by the Brandon Chamber of Commerce, so there was a lot of chamber members there and within the region, within Brandon and the surrounding area. But just in the Premier's messaging and in his speech, he talked about a lot of the work and the collaboration between outside of Brandon, within sort of the Westman area, and Dauphin's name did get dropped a few times. So it's nice to see all the collaboration and partnership, not just within our own community, but as we travel outside the community, and things are happening here, and it's very nice to see that it's being recognized. And I just want to commend Dauphin Rec Services on the PBR event that was held on the weekend. I believe it was despite the snow and the crappy weather, it was a successful event, and it was very neat to see the credit union place be utilized in another capacity than it has been in the past, and hopefully this just leads to more events and more offerings that we can provide within the community, and it was great to see, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Stakilo. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Boziak. May 13th, I attended the last regular council meeting. On the 14th, I was present at the WAC for Mayor Boziak's State of the City address. On the 15th, I attended the Ebb and Flow Petro-Canada groundbreaking ceremony. On the 16th, I traveled to Brandon to attend the State of the District event featuring the Premier Wab Canoe. And on the 22nd, I attended the DART meeting held at DFC. And earlier today, I attended the Community Safety Wellbeing Teams meeting with CCFSC. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Laughlin.
Thank you. Short one for me on May 13th, that regular council meeting at City Hall. Then I was away from the 14th to the 20th. I came back. We had the Communities in Bloom meeting at City Hall on May 23rd. And then, as Councillor Bellemare had mentioned, just a super fun day at Chip and Soil Day on Saturday. The weather wasn't great, but had a lot of time. My back is still a little sore from shoveling all the soil. Even the local editor of the local paper was there. He had some bins for me to fill. So that was great to see a really well-attended event like that for not only soil, too. We had wood chips there as well, and there were some wood chips, too. Those were a little lighter than the soil. So it was really good to see a lot of people come out despite the weather. And that ends my report.
Eloquent as ever. Eloquent as ever. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any wood chips left? Yeah, I do.
Actually, no, you're mentioning it, that people, I know we have a lot of people that watch us online.
Yeah.
They'll probably race over there actually right after I say this. It's by the barn. There's pretty big, pretty high
truckload.
pile still.
I need a truckload.
There's quite a bit left, so everyone go check it out.
I have dogs and I need chips. My my report. So May 13th, regular council meeting. May 14th, attended State of the City address. May 15th, we had an animal services meeting facilitated by Deputy City Manager Lisa Gadet with pretty much a parkland representation a little bit, with the PVO here, Provincial Vet Officer, Dr. Marion.
Yes, Dr. Colleen Marion.
Colleen Marion. Very productive meeting. Great collaboration among municipalities on this whole animal services thing going forward. Everybody appears to be on board with everything, so it's very impressive because it can be a pretty touchy subject on those some of those things. Later that afternoon, attended a protective services meeting. Then, and that was pretty much it for me for meetings, but I did get a couple of calls, and one of them, a citizen concerned about, instead of going online and talking about traffic over by the high school and on Merrill and Dorothy and whatever, sort of went on and on about not enough stop signs between River and Kerr on Dorothy and a pedestrian crosswalk somewhere on Mountain for middle school kids, etc. So he was pretty, he was emboldened by something he was drinking, but I mean, he wasn't offside, but I explained to him that we do studies and we have things on the go, and we will always be monitoring situations because traffic, especially around school areas, is a big concern of ours. But it sort of came on the heels of that big thing that was online over the 30K limit. So anyway, I spent quality time with a concerned citizen. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Sobering.
All right, best for last. I attended a Creative Commons meeting on the 12th, just in regards to prepping the space and some grant applications and getting the physical part of that project rolling, even though the group has been very active with their youth maker space and collecting equipment and figuring out how it's all going to work. The 13th was the regular council meeting, and on the 14th I had a very lengthy handyvan meeting, and I was there for a long time, and we discussed a myriad of issues. As always, every organization struggles finding people, and not just finding people, but the right people and the qualified people. So that's, I think, a lot of what we're going to be seeing in the next decade, which is exciting that we have Assiniboia Community College here, hopefully getting things going and getting people equipped with the skills we need, not just having to train on the job. And the other thing, I was away for a week in Edmonton at a volleyball tournament for my daughter, so I was absent for a lot of the. I didn't attend the Riverside Cemetery meeting, but there's a good group there as well, so I feel like it's in good hands. And just one other thing, there was some discussion by a few parties regarding immigration. There's a number of new Canadians immigrated to Dauphin that are kind of stuck working in the jobs that their work visa allows, but that's not sufficient to pay the cost of living. And they're looking for other work, but that'd be a violation of their work visa. I don't know if that's our place, but if there is as an advocacy to the province to maybe make some allowances. I also spoke to some of the Ukrainian Family Fund last year, pre-election. There was an announcement of some ECE spots for Ukrainian refugees. And I was kind of told in a round, not informally, that the province, after announcing the funds for training for those people, the type of refugee status didn't allow for education. So I'm just curious if there's something we could help with that. So meaning if you were a able-bodied person who would like to take ECE training to help fill some of the spaces at the childhood facilities, even though there's funds in place, you're not able to get that training without violating your immigration status. So there's a lot of different ways you come into the country, and apparently the way a lot of the people came in and the funds that were put in place, they didn't check the federal requirements. So again, just like a lot of those little fine details. So something I think we need to really drill down on, I guess, or get a deeper knowledge of is maybe some of the on the ground immigration issues with our people in the community. and seeing how we can maybe get creative in helping them out. Other than that, other than dropping another big project on everybody's plate, I think that ends my council report.
Thank you, Councillor Sobring, and I will have nothing to say. And so standing ovation from the editor. So that wraps it up. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Sobring, that we adjourn the meeting at 6:15. All in favor? Carried. Thanks for sticking it out, Sean. And we need to turn off the computer.